hypnotherapist Paul McKenna, a regular on daytime TV and other shows as well. He's joining us on the line now from London. Hello, Paul. How's it going, buddy?
Hello, Chris. Yeah, very good. Nice to talk to you, my friend.
You too. Now, these are very strange times, obviously, we're living through. And what we thought we'd do, because we saw you yesterday this morning on TV, and we thought, you know what, we'll get you in to give a little of advice to the Manx population on how to deal with some of the things we're going through, because they are very, very different times, aren't they?
Well, they are. I mean, the things that people are telling me is, firstly, the stress of it all. And that's for a number of reasons, because people don't like the unknown. It always comes up in research as one of the things that people most fear. And as well as there being, things that are not known about the future, also there's uncertainty about the health of ourselves, potentially, our friends and family, the economy, all sorts of things like that. And so that creates, if you like, what we call background stress, or otherwise known as anxiety, a sort of feeling of foreboding that a lot of people have been reporting they're getting. And in addition to that, that disrupts people's sleep. We need to sleep well, not just for our good mental health, but also for our actual immune system needs us to be rested so that we're strong. And then, things like relationships, they come under a strain, and people end up snacking and overeating and drinking excessively. So I suppose that the first thing I would say to anybody is, if you can get a routine, that will help. Even if it's a simple, straightforward one, just so that each day there are certain signposts of things that you're going to do. And that might be walking the dog, because actually walking in nature for about 20 minutes is a really good way of reducing stress. In addition to that, having some sort of a routine, maybe you read a particular time, or you're able to work from home, or there are certain things that you absolutely do which give you some sort of structure. In addition to that, if you notice that your moods are changing, you get irritable, or you suddenly just feel a little panicked, or you start to catastrophize about the future inside your mind, just know this, that is normal and natural for this level of disruption. But there are continual negative messages from our media, because there needs to be, understandably. I mean, I got to tell you, I love Sky News, but I watch it very carefully. I just ration myself to a few minutes of what's really going on or online, and then that's it. Because if not, if you sit there all day, it will have an accumulative effect, hearing about, potential problems for this and body counts, rah, 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 rah. And so the thing I think to bear in mind is that that this will pass. Now, of course, it could be really rough for some people, but it will pass. And there's a number of things that I get people to do. There's a fantastic technique which is called heart math. This is used by all 4 divisions of the American military for people when they go into trauma, for example, when they get upset and get overwhelmed emotionally. And it's very simple. What you do is you notice if you're feeling that way, and you put your hand on your heart, right? Just doing this, we do it now if you want.
I've got it. Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, okay, this begins to reduce the stress hormones, right? Put your hand on your heart, because there's about the same number of communication connections in the heart as there are the brain. It's really the second brain. And put your hand on your heart and put your attention there with your hand on your heart, and take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in, and then gently out. And breathe in, and then gently out. And then breathe in, and gently out. Then remember a time you felt good. Maybe you were with friends having fun. Maybe you'd fallen in love. Maybe you were laughing hard. Maybe you just relaxed on holiday. And return to that time in your imagination or your memory, like you're back there again now. See what you saw. Hear what you heard. And feel how good you felt. That's right. Really enjoy it. That's it. Make the colours rich and bright and bold, and sounds loud, and the feelings really strong. Oh, that's good. And then if your heart could message you, speak to you in some way, or give you some advice, in this moment, ask it, what would be best for you? And maybe you'll clearly know, or maybe you'll just have a kind of idea, and then agree to take some action on that piece of advice. Now, that simple technique that takes about a minute to do is really good if you are getting panicked. Real simple, hand on your heart, gently breathe, don't over-oxygenate yourself, and remember a time you felt good. And then get a message from your heart. And what that tends to do is that sort of resets the system, if you like, Chris.
This is incredible. This is the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming side of things. Paul, Sue in Onken has been in contact with us, and I've got a feeling the hand on heart thing we were talking about just before that maybe answers this, but she said, what is the best way to put an unwanted thought out of your head and to stop worrying about the same problem over and over? And particularly, I'm guessing, sort of 2, 3 in the morning, you're lying there awake, whether you're self-isolating or you're with a group and your partner's snoring away. Those thoughts just seem to magnify, don't they?
Okay, yes, it's a very good point. Now, if you wake at 2 or 3 in the morning and it seems like the world's coming to an end, that's because your brain has shut off a neurotransmitter called norepinephrine. And it has to do that in order for you to be able to dream, to be riding on a magic carpet and then, talking to the Beatles and, swimming in the ocean, whatever it is. Things that what it does is removes the barriers so that you can free flow. The problem is if you get into a negative cycle of that, suddenly there isn't the buffers, if you like, when you awaken, because we've all had this, waking at 3 in the morning and it feels like the end of the world, and then at 10 o'clock the next morning you go, what was I worrying about? I mean, that's no big deal, but at the time it's felt bad. So first of all, know that it's purely a neurochemical issue, right? Because your brain has to change the neurochemistry for you to relax, right? But it also means when you get into a nightmare that it seems really real at the time, and even after you're woken, you're still a little bit shaken, and then of course it passes. There is a technique, and this has become very popular for people that their minds are racing and they're stressed. What you do is you put your right hand on your left shoulder,
right hand, left shoulder,
right shoulder.
Yep.
And what you do is you notice how strong the stress is on a scale of 1 to 10. So 1 will be nothing, 10 will be a lot. And you begin stroking the side of your arms like this, and you close your eyes and you clear your mind. You clear your mind and you imagine you're walking, say, on a beach. And with each footstep you take in the sand, count out loud from 1 to 10 as you stroke the side of your arms. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep stroking the side of your arms, and then move your eyes laterally to the left, laterally to the right. Eyes to the left, eyes to the right. Eyes to the left, eyes to the right. Eyes to the left, eyes to the right. Now, I've only just done that for a few moments, but if you continue that sequence, walking on a beach, then count from 1 to 10, eyes to the left, eyes to the right, and you did that several times for a few minutes, you cannot help but feel very relaxed, because by stroking the side of your arms, you're basically creating more delta in the brain, and delta is synonymous with relaxation and deep sleep. But this is used for helping people with panic attacks and PTSD. In fact, I use this a lot with war veterans, people in the services, police, firemen, ambulance, etc. And this works incredibly well. In fact, Justin Bieber endorsed it the other day because he said it absolutely helped with his anxiety. So there's lots of young people all Googling havening. This technique is called havening techniques, as in a safe haven. I've put some of the havening techniques on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, and on my social media, so you can view them for free. In fact, I've just uploaded nearly all my hypnotic trances onto my YouTube channel, and everyone can access them for free during this challenging time to help them to reduce stress and anxiety, to have deep, refreshing sleep. There's a fantastic trance on there for deep sleep. So as you listen to that at night, you'll find it easy to drift off, in case you're worrying. And there's other ones there too, Chris.
Fantastic stuff, Paul. This is incredible. It's Manx Radio. We're chatting with Paul McKenna, the hypnotherapist, talking about some techniques that can maybe help us cope with some of the things we're going through. I've got a couple more questions. Peter in Castletown asked a couple of questions, some of which we've covered, but he also says sort of trying to get positive thoughts back into your head if you're worried about maybe losing your job, your income, all of those things, because they're very real, very practical problems that are hanging over people.
Well, they are, right? But and look, I can't magic it all away. But what we can do is we can help ourselves to stay in a good frame of mind, because basically a lot of people will be suffering, understandably, from the fear of fear itself. They'll be worried that they're going to worry, and therefore they will worry. And whilst the point of worry is to alert us to potential problems, that's the job of fear. Fear says, be prepared, right? So if I'm about to step off the curb and there's a bus coming, I want a feeling of fear to pull me back. Now, in the same way, he's absolutely right to be concerned about potential problems with the economy, employment, all these sorts of things, and to be alerted to that. But continually worrying about it all day long it'll be exhausting, and it'll be very uncomfortable as well. So what you want is an appropriate amount of be prepared or alert, and then you need to spend the rest of your time in a creative, good place so you can think about solutions. And also, as I mentioned, this will pass. I'm sure that the world will be a different place in weeks or months from now, but also I think it's important to be in as a healthier, that's mentally healthy and physically healthy place as possible. So what I would suggest is, if your brain is, if you're worrying about things, you're picturing them, right? The only way to feel bad is to either remember something bad that happened or imagine something bad that could happen, right? Unless something in that moment bad is happening, like a dog's biting you, but that doesn't really count. I'm talking about the only way to wind yourself up is to either remember bad stuff or, in this case, imagine bad stuff. And the point of it is to get you prepared. But if your brain is doing it all day long, that's your brain running you and not you running your brain. So if you are worrying about all these things, terrible things happening, you're making movies and pictures in your head of this stuff, what I'd like you to do is, if it's winding you up too much, drain the color out of those pictures or those movies. Yeah, think about something that winds you up. If I think about, ooh, crikey, the economy, I don't know, terrible things, I can make myself feel wound up. But if I drain the colour out and make it black and white, it doesn't have so much emotional intensity. Then if I shrink the movie down so it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and I float it off and stick it way off behind me, it doesn't bother me. Now, sure, it might pop back up again later, but I go, okay, anything new to tell me? No, okay, right, black and white, shrink. So by changing the pictures and the movies in our mind, because those that are big and bright and bold have greater emotional intensity than those that are dull, dim, and further away.
This is Swish Patterns, isn't it, if I remember correctly? Incredible stuff, and it really does work. Yes. I can vouch for that. It does work. We're chatting with Paul McKenna. Paul, I've got one more question. I'll come back to you. We'll play one more song, then I'll come back to you if that's okay, buddy. We're chatting with Paul McKenna, the hypnotherapist, about some coping mechanism bits and pieces. Welcome back, Paul. Joe in Douglas, one last question I'm going to ask you, says, and this ties in with what I saw you doing on This Morning, the TV show. Yes, it ties in perfectly. I take it Joe didn't say that. Joe in Douglas just says, I'm eating too much. Help. You came up with a brilliant solution that you gave to Holly Willoughby yesterday. What was it?
Well, with Holly, there's a technique that I use called the craving buster, and most people have a food that they're out of control around. For a lot of people, it's chocolate, right? So they can't just have one piece; they've got to demolish the entire bar, and so the chocolate's in charge and not you. So what I do is real simple. Is I go, it takes about a minute to do this. Think about the food that you're really out of control around. Let's say it's chocolate, and then think about something that you don't like, something that you feel repulsed by, that you couldn't eat. So it might be, say, anchovies. And what you do is you imagine chewing the chocolate, biting into that chocolate. And then as you bite in, it's got anchovy inside. And you've got to keep chewing, so you're tasting chocolate and anchovy, chocolate and anchovy. And this is really important. Swallow it down. And then think about the chocolate. So what we've done is we've taken a compulsion and a repulsion, put them together, and what happens is it makes it a more even playing field in terms of you can look at the chocolate and take it or leave it. So that was the technique I used with Holly. What I say to people, Chris, is very simple. Understandably, people are going to want to eat more and drink more in this time of stress, right? Because everybody changes how they feel in the world by drinking, drug taking, gambling, sex, shopping, TV, and the world's drug of choice, food, in particular sugar foods. And so if you are out of control around particular food, use the craving buster. But as a rule of thumb, I would say these are my golden rules around food. And they are, when you're genuinely hungry, eat, right? And genuine hunger is different to emotional hunger. So genuine hunger comes on gradually. Ooh, a bit later I might fancy a bit of pasta or something. But emotional hunger is, ooh, I feel bored. I feel worried. Ooh, right, I'm going to reach for some chocolate, or I'm going to go and have something like a donut. So yeah. Now, if it's emotional hunger, my suggestion would be go to my YouTube channel and use one of the trances on the YouTube channel. That you can use them for free. In 25 minutes, you'll be very relaxed and you'll feel much better. But if it's genuine hunger, go and eat. And I say, eat what you want, not what you think you should. And that's because as soon as you make a food forbidden, it becomes all you can think about.
Oh,
And
yeah.
all all the naturally thin people I know, they eat chocolate, chips, cheese, pizza, but they just don't eat it to excess. And this is how they do it. They eat it slowly and consciously. In other words, they focus on the food and nothing else. Because if you watch TV while you eat, the research shows you eat more. If you listen to the radio while you're eating, you eat more. If you read a magazine or go online, you definitely eat more. So focus on the food and nothing else, right? Just for the 20 minutes or so. And what I say to people is if you slow your eating speed down to about a quarter and you chew the food about 20 times, then it's so much easier to hear the signal from your stomach that says you're full. If you're shoveling the food in really fast, you're flooding your brain with a happy neurotransmitter, serotonin, and some endorphins. So you really don't feel the stretch on your stomach, and it's only, suddenly, I feel stuffed. That's because you were going too fast.
Fantastic methods.
So if you
Hopefully.
slow it
Sorry, I was going to say, yeah, carry on, Paul.
Yeah, I was going to say, so if you slow it down, you can hear the full signal, and it's easy to stop and then leave food on your plate. And people go, I don't want to leave it on the plate. I said, where do you want it? On the plate or, around your tummy? So those are my four golden rules. When you're hungry, eat what you want, eat consciously, and when you think you're full, stop.
Excellent stuff. Hopefully Jo in Douglas at the will eating your question. She does say PS at the bottom. The two things I'm eating most at the moment are chocolate and anchovies. She doesn't say that. It's fine. Paul, that's just remind us again of your YouTube site. What do people need to search for if they're looking for your videos?
Just go onto YouTube, put Paul McKenna in, and I think it comes up as Paul McKenna Official or something like. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, there's pretty much all the trances I've done, and not just in English as well, are there for this time. And already they're getting hundreds of thousands of viewings and listenings. There's a bunch of video techniques as well, but this is something I want to do to help people because right now we have a genuine virus, but the other, if you like, virus is the anxiety, the stress, potentially the PTSD that people, may suffer from as a result of this time. And so I want to give people a way to get freedom from that worry and that anxiety and to feel good at a time when they really need it.
Fabulous. Paul McKenna, hypnotherapist. Check out the YouTube channel. And as soon as it's over, buddy, we'll get together for a beer. Looking forward to that. Paul, thanks for talking to us.
Absolutely. God bless, my friend. Take care.